Virtual executive assistants are very much different from your Amazon virtual assistants, Shopify VAs, Etsy VAs, social media managers, social media marketers. Virtual executive assistants are in a totally different type of niche. Hi there, guys. I'm MJ, and I am a full time virtual executive assistant working with a US and India based client. And I am also a part time wedding and events planner for MJ Weddings and Events, my own company. For the past few years, specifically at the start of the pandemic, the workforce and companies all over the Philippines have moved their employees from working on site to working full time from home. But for the past few months, our employers or company have been asking or requiring their employees and their workforce to already report on site and start going back to a face-to-face setup of employment. But of course, we still can't deny the fact that there is still a pandemic going on. So this fact triggered a lot of Filipinos to resign from their employers who are asking them to go back on site and start looking for a permanent work from home, whether it be in a call center, in a virtual assistant agency, or starting their own freelancing business as long as they don't have to go back on site. And due to the rise of TikTok and the rise of social media in general during the time of the pandemic, since we're all at home, we're just on our tablets, on our phones, there are a lot of Filipinos who started teaching on their social media how to become a freelancer or how to look for work from home opportunities. And one of the biggest industry that had a huge boom in the middle of the pandemic is the virtual assistant industry. And since this industry is fairly new to us Filipinos, a lot of us don't really know what a virtual assistant is, the difference between a virtual assistant and a virtual executive assistant, the different niche that they have to look for before they decide whether they want to continue as a specific type of virtual assistant or they want to be a general VA or a general VEA. So in this video, I am going to describe to you what a virtual executive assistant do and how a VEA differs from a niche specific virtual assistant or compared to a social media manager or a social media marketer. And also stay up until the end of this video because I am going to tell you where you can apply as a virtual executive assistant and what the benefits of being a VEA is if you decide to go in the agency application direction compared to looking for a direct client. So what is a virtual executive assistant? So VEAs in general is like a secretary or an administrative type of work. The big difference between a secretary or an admin assistant is that we VEAs do everything virtually, as our name describes us, virtual assistants or virtual executive assistants, compared to those who are working in an office. There are actually different types of virtual assistants or different niches, if that's the plural term, in the freelancing industry or the work from home industry. And I'm going to give you a few of the top rated or the most famous type of niche as a virtual assistant. The first one are your e-commerce VAs. That's where your Shopify VAs are, Amazon, Etsy, or different type of e-commerce platforms. That's a niche specific type of VAs. Next one are your accounting or finance or bookkeeping VAs, and they focus on your finances, your taxes, your accounting, whether it be for your personal or for a company. Next, and the most famous of all, is real estate virtual assistants. This is very big, and you also have a very big market in the US because there are a lot of real estate agents in the US. So you focus on working with real estate agents or real estate corporations, and you handle their listings, you look for sales, or you look for buyers, and all of those different things. There are a lot of documentation also within the real estate VA industry. So you are going to be very busy as a virtual assistant for a real estate agent. Another VA specific niche is what we call general virtual assistants. Now, take note, this is a general virtual assistant. So you're going to be doing a lot of different tasks for your client, and it's not like an industry specific type of task. Like, you're not going to focus on real estate or accounting or something like that. Most of general VAs are handling calendar management for their client, inbox management for your client, or any task that your client will actually ask for you to do. So that's what a general virtual assistant is. Now, those are the most common type of VAs that is really big in the industry right now. Another very famous freelancing industry is what we call social media management or social media marketing. I'm not going to discuss about that, or I'm not going to include them in the list of virtual assistants because I really don't consider them as a VA. Personally, I don't consider them as a VA because their niche is very different. They're on a different league of freelancers. It's very hard. I tried being a social media manager and a social media marketer for my client, and it's a really, really hard industry to study. I've been doing it for my client for I think more than 6 months already, and I'm still not an expert on that. I still do basic stuff for my client. So being a social media manager or a social media marketer is a totally different league. We're gonna talk about them on a separate video, but I don't personally include them in the virtual assistant category. Now that we know the big names in the virtual assistant industry, how does a virtual executive assistant differ from those niche specific VAs? The number one difference between your VAs and your VEAs is that the VEAs are expert delegation managers. What does that mean? As a virtual assistant, like what I discussed earlier, you have specific tasks that you do for your client. If you are a e-commerce VA, you focus on their shops. If you are a real estate VA, then you focus on anything that has to do with their real estate business. But once you are a VEA, you're somewhat similar to a general virtual assistant, but a general virtual assistant just do what their client asks them to do. A virtual executive assistant is an expert delegation manager because we actually look for things that we can do for our client. Our clients are hiring us specifically for us to be able to help them in things that they don't know how to manage, or they don't know how to do, or things that we can take off their plate, or things that we can identify as VEAs that we can take off their plate so they can focus on more important things like building their business, building their brand, or more time with family. So that's the big difference between your general VAs and your executive assistants. Just to recap, general VAs will do things that their client will ask them to do, like a list of tasks or to-do list that they will do on a day-to-day basis. So if you're a client and you're looking for a general VA, you have a set of tasks that you will tell your general VA to do. Now, when you are a client that's looking for a virtual executive assistant, you're actually asking help from your EA to identify things that they can delegate for themselves so that you can focus on other things. You are the type of client who does not have the time to actually tell your EA what to do. You are looking for an EA who can look for stuff that they can take off your plate. So if you are the type of client who doesn't like micromanaging and you like to have someone on board that can help themselves and help you at the same time, then you are looking for an executive assistant. That's the big difference between your general VAs and your EAs. This delegation management skill is actually why having executive presence is a very important quality of a successful, effective, and efficient virtual executive assistant. Because when you have executive presence, it means that you are confident enough to tell your client that, hey, it looks like your calendar is really all over the place. Here's how we're going to fix that. All of your meetings will be scheduled on this day alone, and all of your other things, your focus work, your time with family, will be scheduled on this specific days. So when you're an EA, you have to be assertive in telling your client that, hey, this is what we're going to do so I can fix your life. So you're coming in with your expertise as in inbox management, calendar management, travel management, all of the skills that I'm going to talk about later on. You are coming in as an EA because you are an expert on that specific skill. Executive presence is also a key quality for an executive assistant because as an EA, as the name describes you, you are an executive assistant, which means you are the extension of your executive. There are times that you are going to represent your executive or your client to other people. Like, for example, in meeting management, there will be days that your client will ask you to attend on their behalf, and you're going to present the summary to your client afterwards. So there are some instances wherein you're going to do a lot of executive tasks that your client is supposed to do, but since your client is focused on something else, you will represent on behalf of your client. Another point that separates your virtual executive assistants from your niche specific VAs is that we are actually a jack and Jill of all trades. We do everything that our clients will ask us to do, which means our daily tasks is not routinary tasks. We do actually different tasks every day, every week, every month. It's not the same task every day. But here are the skills that we do on a daily basis for our clients. First one is inbox management. This is where we take care of our clients' email or their inbox. What's important as virtual executive assistants is that we make the commitment to our client that if we handle their inbox, we make sure that we do our daily inbox sweep. And our daily inbox sweep should result to your client's inbox zero. These terms might be new to you, but I'm going to discuss them in a separate video more in detail. Another important thing that we do during inbox management is we create email drafts for our client. Whenever we do inbox sweep first thing in the morning, we already see or we already read through all of our clients' emails, and there are some emails there that would require your client to reply to that email. So what you're going to do to make your client's life easier, you are going to already draft a reply for that specific email that your client will review later on once they're online, and then all they have to do is just send it after, edit a little if they have to, and then just send it to the recipient. Next important skill is calendar management. For calendar management, we come in at the beginning of our relationship with our client, reviewing their calendar, identifying if they have a chaotic calendar and how we're going to fix that. Meaning the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to optimize our client's calendar to make sure that we give them back more of their time. More of their time to focus on important things, whether it be in professional life or in their personal lives. Other general things that we do in calendar management is we create meeting events. We set up meetings with other people. We also do or incorporate their travel details within their calendar. We integrate third-party applications such as Calendly with their Google Calendar to make sure that their meetings are arranged properly and accordingly, efficiently and effectively. And all of the other things or all of the other appointments, whether it be professional or personal appointments, everything should be in their calendar. Next skill is travel management. This is a very fun skill that we do for our clients. We search and book flights, hotels, activities, car rentals, and we create the final itinerary for our client when we do travel management for them. Next skill is household management. This is where we pay for their bills, whether it be electric bill, their medical bills, anything that has to do with their house or with their home. That's what we manage. We search and book for chefs or nannies or electricians. Everything that has to do with their household, we manage those things. Next skill is event management, whether it be personal events like birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, or professional or corporate events such as team building, awardings, year end parties. We help our client plan and manage and also execute those events. And trust me, we can do all of those virtually. Last, on the most common type of skills that we are going to do for our client is meeting management. This is where we arrange meetings, plan meetings. It's like event management in a way. And this is also where we do minutes of the meeting. One of the hardest tasks that I do for my client, but that's where minutes of the meeting come in under meeting management. If you'd like to learn more about the details of each of these tasks or tools, or just you want to learn how to become a virtual executive assistant, then great news, because I created an in-depth, detailed online course. It's a paid online course. So if you have a budget, then you can definitely enroll in my online course. But if you don't have a budget yet, especially if you're looking for a work for now, then just continue on watching all of my free content on YouTube. I update it as much as possible and as frequent as I can. So everything free content will still be here in YouTube. But if you want a more detailed deep dive into how to become a successful virtual executive assistant, how to apply in agencies, or how to look for direct clients, then enroll in my online course. So our online course will consist of 6 modules, from the basics of how to become a virtual executive assistant up until client acquisition. I will teach you the workflow of how to be successful as a VEA. Great thing also is you have lifetime access. So you pay only once and you will have lifetime access to this course. Whenever I have new skills that I learn or new tools that I learn, it will be updated and you will have instant access to it already. The online course also consists of video tutorials for all modules and their subtopics. There will also be a written transcription for each module and topic. There will be also available downloadable templates that you can use for your client. The rest of the features will be available in 2023. You will have free monthly webinars to discuss each of the skill or tool tutorials. You will also be able to already schedule a one-on-one mentorship with me starting 2023. And you will also receive monthly newsletters starting January 2023 onwards. The online course is in a Notion workspace, which is both web based and phone app, which means you can access it anywhere, anytime. And at the end of the course, you will have a certificate once you pass the assessment. This course is actually worth 3,500 pesos, but I am selling it at an introductory rate of 499 pesos up until the end of this year, 2022. So up until December 31, 2022, you can purchase it for 499 pesos and you will have access to all of the things that I just discussed and more. So if ever there is something new that I thought that I will want to add on the online course, you will already have lifetime access to it. You can enroll in this course anytime. The links will be available in the caption down below, and it's also available in all of the links in any of my social media account bios. Continuing on our topic for today, on top of the skills that I just discussed, here are also the important tools that you should learn if you want to be a virtual executive assistant. First are email tools such as Gmail, Outlook, and Superhuman. Superhuman is a paid tool, so you just have to learn the basics. Try to search in YouTube all of the free content that you can get to learn the basics of how to use Superhuman. But what's important is Gmail. You have to learn the features of Gmail. I do have tutorials on that in my previous videos. Next are your calendar tools. You have your Google Calendar and your Calendly. Next important thing is your Google Drive. Within Google Drive, you have Google Sheets, Docs, Slides, and Forms. So learn the basics of how to navigate Google Drive. All of these Google Workspace platforms are for free. Next is LastPass. It's a password sharing platform. Learn the features of this LastPass. It's also for free. There's a free version and a paid version, but me personally, I just use the free version. Next one is your Google Maps. So learn how to navigate Google Maps and how to link it to your Gmail and your Google Calendar. Next important tools are your project management tools. You have Notion, Asana, Trello, and Monday.com. I personally use Notion and they have the free version. In the free version, you can already use all of their features, but the paid version are actually just for teams or if you want to add additional person in your Notion workspace. But yes, I just use Notion. But it's good to know all of the other project management tools. This is the last but definitely not the least description of what is a virtual executive assistant. And that is the competency or the characteristic that you need to have to be able to succeed and be an efficient and effective VEA. The first competency is you need to be detail oriented. You have to always double check or triple check everything before you submit an output to your client or before you respond to any communication. Next is you have to be resourceful. If you are a virtual executive assistant, you have to learn your way on how to use the World Wide Web. So you have to be an expert in searching through Google or other search engines or other platforms and different platforms. You have to always think outside the box. So remember, nothing is impossible if you're a virtual executive assistant. The World Wide Web is a very huge place and you can search everything there. But together with being resourceful is where your being detail oriented comes in. You have to double, triple check everything. Make sure that you fact check everything before you provide any information to your client. Next characteristic is you have to be assertive. When you're assertive, it means that you just have the confidence to be able to tell your client that based on your research, this is the right thing to do. Based on your expertise or your knowledge of a specific tool or a specific skill, this is the right thing to do. So you just have to be assertive in a way that you push your client to the correct direction. Next characteristic is you have to be dependable. This just means that you make sure to inform your client updates about a tasks that you're currently doing. You don't leave your client hanging. You try to make sure that you submit your output or you finish your output within the deadline that you and your client discussed. So that's how being dependable is. Another way to be dependable is you have to show accountability in your actions. If there is something that you cannot finish on time, make sure that you inform your client in advance. If there's something that you did wrong, make sure that you be accountable of your actions and don't blame others on whatever it is that you did. And that's how being dependable is. Last characteristic is you have to be proactive. Proactive means you are good in delegation management. That's because when you are proactive, you don't wait for your client to tell you what to do. You already know what to do for your client and how you can help your client with their day-to-day tasks so that they again can focus on more important things. Now that you have an idea of what a virtual executive assistant is and you feel like you have the skill, the talent, the knowledge to be a successful virtual executive assistant, then there are two directions that you can take to start your virtual executive assistant career. The first one is to look for direct clients. Looking for direct clients simply means that you're not going through a third party. You're actually going to look for clients for yourself. And where are you going to look for your clients? You can look through OLJ, Upwork. OLJ is Online Jobs PH. You can also look through Upwork, Fiverr. You can look through LinkedIn. And there is also a great market of clients in social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So those are all of the platforms where you can look for your direct clients. I will discuss in another video in the next coming weeks how you can search for clients directly. So if you want to learn about that, you can hit the subscribe button, or you can also enroll on my online course. Next direction that you can take, and I highly suggest this if you are just beginning as a freelancer or as a virtual executive assistant, is to go through an agency. There are a lot of different agencies hiring Filipino virtual executive assistants. And one of the best agencies out there is the agency that I'm working with is ATHENA. ATHENA Executive Assistants is actually continuously and actively hiring virtual executive assistants. And when I mean VEAs, ATHENA is just actually looking for VEAs and no other niche specific VAs. They are just really focused on hiring virtual executive assistant, hiring and training virtual executive assistants. So if you are interested in applying in Athena, what are the qualifications? First is you need to be 18 years old and above. You should be currently residing here in the Philippines when you apply. Anywhere in the Philippines is fine. You should have your own equipment, whether it be PC or laptop. The detailed specs of the PC or laptop will be in the caption down below. You should also have an internet with a minimum speed of 10 Mbps or higher. You must also be familiar with the basic use of Google Workspace. You have your Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Google Sheets, Docs, Slides, Forms, anything that has to do with Google Workspace, you must know the basics of how to use it. And lastly, you must also know the basics of cryptocurrency, because most of the clients that are looking for virtual executive assistants are within the crypto industry or are investing in crypto. So, what are the benefits if you become a virtual executive assistant for Athena Executive Assistant? First benefit is once you pass the application process, you will have a 3-week training. And within those 3 weeks training, you have a 30,000 pesos allowance paid to you in increments of 5,000 pesos for the next 6 weeks. So you have 3 weeks in training and then 3 weeks in nesting while you're waiting for you to get matched with a client. And Athena will be the one to look for a client in their pool of waitlisted clients. Next is you will have your health card or HMO plus free one dependent. Within your health card benefits, you also have your optical, dental, and psychiatric benefits. If you are a pet parent, you also get a pet support program wherein you can reimburse your veterinary expenses, medicated shampoo and conditioner for your dogs, and prescribed dog food for 5,000 pesos per quarter. We also have paid leaves that will be discussed to you in detail during your job offer. And of course, you will get a salary of 45,000 pesos monthly once you already have a client. And last but definitely not the least, a MacBook Air M1 chip will also be provided to you as your company PC or company equipment once you are already matched with a client. So if you're interested in applying in Athena Executive Assistant, all of the details and links to the application form will be in the caption down below. And that's it for our vlog for today. I hope it helped clear things out for you on what a virtual executive assistant is, how they differ from other niche specific VAs. And if you are interested to learn more about how to be a VA, again, you can subscribe for free content here on my YouTube channel. Follow me as well on my other social media handles. I also have a Facebook group. Everything will be detailed in the caption down below. And if you want a more detailed, in-depth tutorial of how to become a virtual executive assistant, then again, you can learn in my online course. Everything will be in the caption down below. So thank you everyone so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to either working with you in Athena or seeing you as a successful virtual executive assistant. Bye.